What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Be sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. A curious thing keeps happening, just like in the comic book industry, and just like in the movie industry. People watching it that supposedly this is all directed to are rejecting it, saying we don't want this DEI inclusion, whether it's a consultation company like Sweet Baby Inc. or the studios doing it themselves, game or movie. We don't want it. We just want good material, good traditional storytelling based on the source materials you're saying they're based on, and they're being rejected wholesale, like I said. And of course, video games is that next big push. They are not liking that we are ratioing them on all of their trailers and things. And anytime something comes out connected to Sweet Baby Inc., that Steam curation list calls it out. It's only growing. Here we go. Gearbox narrative director and lead writer on Borderlands 3, Sam Winkler, thankfully no relation to Henry Winkler, so the Fonz isn't corrupted, but decries gamers as bigots and parrots Sweet Baby Inc.'s false narrative. I mean, we are called bigots so much that someone like Hypnotic and all of his viewers are able to call themselves the Bigot Army. All right, that's how much you've called us bigots that we just now embrace the term. It's not even an insult. Sam Winkler, the narrative director at Gearbox and lead writer on Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland, chose to parrot Sweet Baby Inc.'s false narrative about gamers while also decrying them as bigots. Winkler posted to X a screenshot that reads, "A good narrative writer of any skin color can write a good character with another skin color without needing consultants. If your studio can't do that, get a better writer." Well, I agree with that. I agree. That's what we said the whole time. Why are you writing these consultants? You should just have someone that knows what they're doing to begin with. He then commented on this writing, "I see this." Oh, he's saying what we're saying now. He said, "Of course. I see this argument all the time against DEI and consultancy, and it just highlights the total misunderstanding of being a good writer. If you don't somehow max out your stats and learn how to write every conceivable character, plot, or prose style, many other writers would disagree." Next, he posted, "Knowing you can't, aren't ready, or aren't the right person to write something is one of the chief. If you aren't the right person, then you shouldn't have been hired." Basically. Ideally, you have a team that can cover all your bases, but if you have a gap, you hire an outside expert. Just like in literally any fucking industry. He concluded the thread accusing gamers of being bigots. He wrote, "Just further evidence that 99.9% of the people spewing this shit had never ever created a single thing." And yeah. I'll tell you what. Used to be a professional chef in the industry, and you know what we didn't do when we didn't know how to do something or someone wasn't as good as they should have been? We fucking practiced. We didn't hire outside chefs to come in and pay them a bunch of money to do some shit we should have been able to do. And that includes the cultural representation of cooking other cultures' meals. When we made Indian food, we didn't hire in someone from fucking India to make sure we got it just right. No. We were able to swing it. And I think that's what they could do with writing. You don't need to hire the exact person of the exact type that you're hiring, that you're trying to create in every single one. That's that dumb DEI inclusion shit of only we can tell our stories. Fuck out of here. The narrative is obviously the same one that Sweet Baby Inc. has been running. Oh, here, sorry. This is what he actually says. "Just further evidence that 99.99% of the people spewing this shit have never created a single thing they're proud of in their life, and the rest are just straight up bigots. Thank you." The narrative is obviously the same one that Sweet Baby Inc. has been running to the media and posting to X about for the entire month of March. The claim that gamers just don't know what they're talking about when they criticize DEI video game development. As an example, Sweet Baby Inc. employee Maya Kramer under the X account Lego Butts pushed this narrative at the end of February when she attempted to get the Sweet Baby Inc. detected Steam curator list shut down. She wrote, "The other part of this is it doesn't matter if you tell the truth. They think DEI just steps in and changes whole games, that creators are forced to buy some unseen." Forced whole games? No. But do you come in and they ask, how can we make this better or more inclusive? You do say, make them black, make them gay, make them more of the game, make them more than just standing there being black, make them black and central to the character. That has been proven 1,000 times over. Kramer then posted, fighting misinformation would be great, but social media plus YouTube is not equipped to hold. But yeah, this sort of went into their whole COPE campaign where they were trying, it was misinformation, where they were trying to make it seem like, oh no, they didn't do anything. Why are we being so not mean to the sweet babies? They're not doing anything, but they were. She then added, sorry, no one has changed a thing. The number of people who understand that spreading misinformation, which she was spreading, just let them be racist in public with no consequences has increased dramatically. This is about the people that say you can't be racist to white people. And then, of course, the Sweet Baby Inc. co-founder all came in and all made their harassments, all calling us bigots. As for the Winkler argument, you need to hire writers based on their identity to write certain characters with the same identity. And here they're going to mention it too. It is a tired Hollywood argument that has proven to be a box office and financial disaster. One just need look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its embrace of woke identity politics over the past half decade to see the results of this ideology. It's not, and I would also say, look at Star Trek on Paramount under Kurtzman, and just every group that has embraced this has led to failure and ruination, certainly not to profitability. You don't need to be black to write a white character. You don't need to be white to write white characters. You don't need to be Chinese to be able to write a Chinese character. And you shouldn't be a murderer to write a killer character. That's the other one we don't talk about. How far you want to take that? There are a plethora of examples of authors and writers able to create and write numerous characters without their identity matching those. You would never have the Three Musketeers. Spoiler, the original dude that wrote it is Blick. Comic book writer Christopher Priest shredded this argument back in 2018 when identity-based hiring started becoming all the rage. He informed comicbook.com. So I got a call from DC and they wanted to talk to me about Cyborg. I gave them the standard stump speech. I don't want to be a black writer. When did I become a black writer? I used to be a guy who could write Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Batman. Why am I no longer qualified to write those characters? How did I get typecast from writing Black Panther of all things, when the series was never really about Black Panther? It was about the white guy, about Ross. It was narrated through his voice, and I thought I wrote a very well-constructed white character. Why are you now pigeonholing me as a guy who can only write black characters? Because only you can tell your story, bro. He continued, I later found out that Marvel, and to a lesser extent DC, moved into a trend where they were no longer hiring writers, they were casting writers. They're listening to chatter on Twitter, yes, and instead insisting that only a black lesbian writer could write a black lesbian character, and that's nonsense. A writer writes. Tom Clancy, rest his soul, could write anything a writer writes. All of a sudden, I was no longer qualified to write anybody that didn't look like me. And I resented that, as you should. I was really polite about it. And DC told, thank you for calling, blah, 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 because you wouldn't also want to appear as an angry black man to them. They would love to throw that stereotype in your face, too. Priest concluded. Then a day or two later, I got a call from DC and they asked me about Deathstroke. I asked if he was black. They said, no. Well, you probably should have known that. I said, okay, I'm listening. We started having a conversation about Deathstroke. It wasn't just that the character wasn't black. We were talking about a character with a lot of untapped potential for me to get inside their head and mine new ground with him. I wasn't going to come back to comic book companies until they offered me something I could get energized about. I left comics because they stopped offering me anything but black characters. Now, ironically, both Marvel and DC and some of the independents are talking about a whole range of things. That's maybe better. Maybe they're changing. No, they're not. They're doubling down. They're being horrible. And the independent comic, go shout out Ripa. He'll give you some characters, not just black characters. Yeah. Nevertheless, Winkler, who just described all of his critics, bigots, decided to play victim when people took issue with it. He wrote on X, I've muted the threads for obvious reasons, but I want to say this. If you don't like my work, that's okay. It doesn't really bother me. Public criticism is invaluable. What bothers me is when you feel like you need to use your finite time on this earth to try and make... Motherfucker, I almost just said a gamer word. You call this bigots. Did you think that was going to make us feel happy? Although by this, I would say that it does make us happy. It doesn't hurt us at all. You've ruined the words. He continued, I've had uncountable civil conversations with fans and haters alike who want to understand why a plot point happened or why a favorite character never showed up. I'll always show up for that, but some of y'all have truly screwed up your priorities. Are you even fun? Bro, I was just on open bar. I'm having more fun than I could possibly have. I could hate a game's writing, and it wouldn't occur to me in a million years to heckle the writer or threaten them or tell them to stop writing. Oh, because I wanted to do and still do all three of those things from the Mass Effect 3 writers. And I want to heckle, threaten in Minecraft, and tell them to stop writing, of which I hope they all did. I'm looking at you, Casey Hudson. He painted himself as the victim because what could I gain from that? What could they, if they, bro, you painted yourself as the victim. He concluded, this has made me feel bad, but not for myself. I feel bad for all the people who got shouted down and then stopped making things. If they're making shit like you're making, I'm glad that worked. We need to gatekeep harder than ever. I feel bad for the stress writers feel about how they'll be treated, and I feel bad for you because you are honestly, truly, deeply wasting your time. Nah, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so at all. I think we're the ones that are still going to be here at the end of it, and you're probably just going to be fired, or your company is going to go bankrupt, or you're just going to lose all your sales because no one knows. We know we can't trust you. And peace, bro. We'll be playing Helldivers and the other games that don't capitulate, that don't call us bigots, that take our side instead of your side. And well, thank you for liking, sharing, and subbing. If you've done that, thank you. If you're gonna do that, thank you. I guess what I'm really laughing at is get fucked Sam Winkler. I don't think you realize how bad this is for you. But yeah.
Well, bye.